Is gold a clickbait asset? Hello and welcome to All That Glitters, a brand new show on the most talked about metal in the financial world, gold. We have all heard the story about how India had huge wealth pre independence and how wealthy were you was measured by how much gold you own. Well, time has passed. We are in the 21st century now, and the perspective of wealth has changed. What has not changed is the value of gold. Why the yellow metal is called as the safe haven asset. Even during war and the financial crisis, why the value of gold goes up. What is interesting is while the Indian stock market is hitting record highs in the past few months, even gold prices are hitting record highs. We are here to talk about this and get overall views from experts on gold prices. We are very pleased to welcome Mr. Soumya Sarkar, co founder, Wealth Redefine, on our show. Hello, Mr. Sarkar. How are you doing?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing
Thank you
good.
for thank you for inviting me for the show.
You're welcome. We are talking about how gold as an asset is doing extremely well over the past few years, and the first question I have to you is why gold is called a safe haven.
See, it is very unlike to see that equity market and gold both are going up. Usually, it on a reverse direction. So, suppose equity market goes up, the gold starts coming down. And when gold starts going down, usually the equity comes down. But this is the one of the rare scenario where we can see that the gold as well as the equity both are going up. See, the reason of gold going up are there are various reasons to it. One reason can be economic instability. So we can see a lot of instability after COVID in terms of economics. Second is the regional conflicts. If you can see the Ukraine-Russia war or Israel-Hamas war, which is going on in Middle East, that actually give a lot of clients, rather a lot of investors are jittery about how the equity market is going to perform in the future. That may lead to the moving towards a safe haven like gold. Another important reason may be the currency fluctuation. You see that dollar dominance is there are a lot of countries who are trying to get out of the dollar dominance, and they are trying to move into more of their own currency to do it. Like for example, China Russia trade, as dollar has come down to almost 15% of them, where yuan has gone up by approximately at around 52% kind of a thing. So you can see that because of these things, the support to the currency was primarily was a gold before the dollar dominance come into the world. So that was a reason that why the central banks of these big countries have started purchasing the gold also. So these are the few factors. Like another factor can be an inflation factor. Inflation all over the globe was quite a bit high. Now it has come down, but US is still more than 2% of inflation. There recently data says there are approximately 3.1% of inflation. So all those factors actually contributed towards the gold price movement. Yes, it is very unlikely to see that equity and gold both have gone up. But because of these uncertainty, few investors, though they are bullish on equity, they are also bullish on gold as a safe haven asset. And gold
Sure.
is always considered to be a safe haven asset. So definitely they are putting the money as a contra towards the equity to have it. And that is the one of the reason why gold is going up, as per my understanding.
Sure. Thank you for that answer. Now, my next question is you spoke about economic instability, including war. There are a lot of things that's happening around the globe. Inflation is relatively high. It's much higher than 2% target. So the Fed probably will, like they said, that they will keep interest rates higher for a longer time. And
Yeah,
UK was technically in a recession in the
yeah.
end of
UK and
2023.
Japan both have gone into technical
UK
recession.
and Japan. So,
Yeah.
in a way, where do you see India, compared to other developing countries? And if you had to give some advice to young investors on gold investments, what would that be?
I think India is a bright spot at this point of time. I must tell that the central bank of us has done extremely well in this COVID period, after COVID period. So India is still remain one of the best destination for the funds to come in, because we can see a lot of growth. We can see a political stability in the country, which actually helps the overseas investor to invest into that country. We are democratically quite a sound country. So obviously that is going to help us a bit. If you look at the compared to India and China thing, the lot of money which had gone to China are moving back to India, because one of the reason is that China is still not able to perform the way it should have performed. Okay, the one COVID policy for them, then there are several big companies have faces a lot of problem in terms of IPO and everything. Plus, there is a real estate crisis in China, which is Evergrande has already gone for a bankruptcy filing. So all those things is so overseas investors are now looking at India as one of the bright spot because of the political stability, the willingness of the political people to develop this country, as well as the robust central bank policies. Okay, I think it is where most of the countries in COVID time made the interest rate to zero to just to make the survive. India did a very well. They cut the rate but did not make it to zero. So that actually helped us to control the inflation to some extent also. And we are the one of the fastest country to control the inflation. And
Sure.
see, even if the inflation is stable in our country for almost last 12 months, we have not seen that RBI is going to cutting the rate. So that means they are not going to taking that kind of aggressive stand to increase or decrease the rate on a frequently. So I think that we can see there is a lot of potential in India, and the way a lot of political things are going on. So we can see that yes, there are much stability in the country, and stability will help the investors to bring the money for their capital investment. And capital investment will definitely ultimately leads to the profitability company, which will definitely going to the implication on the share market. So these are the way I think that India is going to do well. And India, as of now, looks like a brightest spot to invest the money among all global peers.
You spoke about how gold has actually risen several thousands of rupees in the past few months. What is your near-term outlook for gold?
I think in 2024, we may see the bullishness in the metals. May not be that kind of bullishness which we have seen in 2023, but definitely gold is going to expected to do well, because gold is not only the asset class in terms of return based. It is the asset class also as a safe haven. So both the return oriented people as well as the risk averse people both will like to have the gold in their portfolio. So in that way, I'm seeing that metals are going to do well in 2024. But definitely for any particular investment advice, I think every investor should consult the registered investment advisor for it. Okay, whether he should have in the portfolio or not, because risk appetite of every investors are different. A lot of people invest the money only for the return. A lot of people invest the money to avoid the risk and all those things. So they should consult the registered investor advisor and ask them that whether this is the long horizon for them and whether gold is suiting them for that or not. But in 2024, overall, as of now, which we are looking at is gold is looking at a bullish point.
Right. So that's about investment. Now, if we talk about gold jewelry demand, then where do you see the demand going this year? And this is from
I
very
think
household perspective.
I think Indians are in love with gold.
Of
So there
course.
is no dearth of demand is going to come down. No, but see, there are jewelry is always been one of the for Indian weddings and Indian people. It is one of the best asset class people give as of now.
Right.
And gold is so there is no downside towards the demand is not feasible. I think the demand is going to go high, but a lot of people right now are very much aware about the jewelry and all those things. So they are now giving to their next generation as a gold bonds or gold funds or a lot of things. So there may not be a downside in terms of demand of gold jewelry, but definitely there will be other aspects which will come up, other kind of investments to gold only, which will come up like through sovereign bond they can give it, through gold funds they can invest into the gold, and these are much easier way to take out also. People have understood all those things while investing the money through their demand and all those things. So definitely I can see that dearth of demand is not there, but maybe a slightly movement toward other way of investing gold can be there. So
Right.
when it was
Um,
solely 100% into, previously it was 100% through jewelry, that may be around 80% in the jewelry and 20% through these assets also.
right, right. Very insightful, Soumya. Thank you so much for joining us today on All That
Thank you.
Glitters. Thank
Thank
you.
you.